Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. We have more gaming and PlayStation news, rumours and leaks to go over. Let's start with Silent Hill 2 as we have quite a bit to unpack here. Rumours are swirling again, and this time they're pointing towards something big happening in the Silent Hill 2 remake universe. A known horror insider, Dusk Golem, recently hinted that a new DLC titled Born from a Wish might be in development for the remake, along with the long-awaited PlayStation 5 Pro performance patch. Now, if you've been around since the early 2000s, you'll remember Born from a Wish was a side story that followed Maria, one of the key characters from Silent Hill 2. Her story takes place before she meets James Sunderland, who is the main character, and digs deep into her existence, her purpose, and her eerie connection to Silent Hill itself. It is a short but powerful piece of storytelling, and if this DLC really is coming, it could add even more emotional weight to Bloober Team's remake. And not only that, the fact that the PlayStation 5 Pro version is about to be updated is brilliant too. And for the record, it's about bloody time too. I picked this up when it first came out on the PlayStation 5 Pro, but I haven't really completed it. I played around 15 to 18 hours, give or take. So once the patch is updated for the PlayStation 5 Pro, I can dive back in and finish the game off in all of its wonderful glory. And of course, I can check out the DLC if the rumors happen to be true. And speaking of Bloober Team, the developers are reportedly also working on an Xbox Series X and S version of the remake. According to the rumor mill, Konami might tie all of this together with the upcoming Return to Silent Hill movie set for early 2026. I think it's January off the top of my head. That film is based directly on Silent Hill 2, so timing is everything around that release, and it would make perfect sense right now from a marketing perspective. But let's take a step back. The Silent Hill 2 remake already launched on October 2024, rebuilt completely in Unreal Engine 5. Fans have praised its attention to detail, the atmosphere, and the expanded world design. Some of the classic puzzles were even reimagined into multi-layered riddles, adding new depth while staying faithful to the original's tone. Now, according to a report from Deal Labs, at the time of recording this video, Silent Hill 2 Remake may also be heading to PlayStation Plus this month in October, just in time for Halloween. Perfect timing for horror lovers, right? But not only that, it does all start to make sense when you step back and have a think about it. They have a new DLC rumored to be coming out soon. Very soon, perhaps early next year. The movie launches in January 2026, just a few months away. What better time to release the game on PlayStation Plus and onto Xbox, fix the PlayStation 5 Pro patch, something which they should have done a long time ago, reignite the interest in the game, and then with the movie launch, or around the time of the movie launch, release the DLC and kind of ride the wave of hype and excitement. Makes a lot of sense and makes this rumor sound really plausible. So what do you think? Is Konami preparing for a big Silent Hill comeback? And if so, is the Born from a Wish DLC enough to draw players back into the fog-covered streets once again? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Now let's move on from psychological horror to something a bit more grounded in vengeance and revenge. Ghosts of Yotei, the long-awaited sequel to Ghosts of Tsushima, has made a huge impact in the UK. It's officially dethroned EA Sports FC 26, formerly known as FIFA, from the top of the UK physical game charts. For those that don't know, FIFA is arguably one of the biggest gaming franchises in the world and is only probably surpassed by Call of Duty. It's definitely the biggest sports franchise on the planet. This is massive, guys. To top FIFA, or EAFC as it's now called, is a huge accomplishment, and that's a massive deal. And when you also consider that Ghosts of Yotei is only on one platform, you can only play it on PlayStation 5, but FIFA, or EAFC, is on every single platform, right? EA football games going back to the FIFA era usually dominate for weeks after release, but Yotei managed to overtake it within just 1 week. But there is a catch though, and that is around physical and digital games, because Yotei's topped the charts on physical sales. Most people buy these annual games digitally, so the vast majority of people picking up Call of Duty or FIFA or EAFC or whatever you want to call it, most of those people picking those games up each year will just buy the digital game. Whereas a single player game like Ghosts of Yotei, people will still buy the game digitally, don't get me wrong, as that's the way the world is heading, but there is more of a reason to buy buy a physical copy of Ghost of Yotei. It's not coming out every year, and people tend to lean into that more than games which come out every single year. The game's physical sales might also be down around 40% compared to Ghost of Tsushima's physical sales, which launched back in 2020. But let's be real, it's 2025. Digital sales have taken over, and it's believed that once you count digital purchases, Ghost of Yotei may have already surpassed 2 million copies sold. Not bad for a single player samurai epic. And if those rumors are true, that surpasses Ghost of Tsushima's total sales for the first few days. The game has been described as a tale of underdog vengeance, and it's filled with themes of honor, loss, and justice. It's haunting, cinematic, and deeply personal, a fitting successor to Tsushima's legacy, something I'm currently playing through right now and having an absolute blast playing this game. So the question is, will Ghost of Yotei manage to keep this momentum going through to the end of the year? And what does this mean for single player games in a world obsessed with live service titles? Guys, leave your thoughts down below in the comments.
Let's go to that tower.
Now, Arc Raiders is launching later this month, and if you're a PlayStation 5 Pro owner, there is good news. The game is getting enhanced graphics settings, including higher quality visuals and increased dynamic resolution. Embark Studios confirmed that the PlayStation 5 Pro version will run on epic quality settings, meaning you could expect better lighting, sharper visuals, and improved reflections. And for the standard PlayStation 5, the game targets high quality settings with a resolution range between 720p and 1600p. The PlayStation 5 Pro, however, pushes that range up to 2160p or 4K territory. That's a nice bump, but there is a catch. The game can reportedly still drop as low as 720p in heavy action sequences. Not exactly ideal for next generation consoles, right? Still, if Embark can deliver smooth performance with those visuals, especially given that the game runs on Unreal Engine 5, which we know is quite heavy from a performance perspective, and there has also been technical issues with Unreal Engine 5 and how it's been optimized for certain platforms. For some people, that might be a fair trade-off. Arc Raiders officially drops on October the 31st, just in time for Halloween. Now, pre-orders are already open, and there's even a server slam playtest on October the 17th. The game looks pretty decent to me, but with Battlefield 6 just around the corner, I may end up giving Arc Raiders a miss until later next year. Let me know how you're feeling about Arc Raiders down below in the comments. Alright, let's talk about one of the most anticipated shooters of the year, and that is Battlefield 6, set to release this week on October the 10th. This entry marks a return to large-scale warfare for DICE and for EA. The rollout schedule is now public. Players in North America can jump in at 8 AM Pacific, 11 AM Eastern. The UK, we can access this game at 4 PM on the 10th of October. In mainland Europe, that is 5 PM Central European time, and Asia Pacific at midnight Japan time. And good news for me personally is that there is no early access exclusivity this time. Everybody gets to start at the same time, regardless of the edition or the platform. But here's something interesting. Some lucky fans have already received their physical PlayStation 5 copies early, and yes, the full game is actually on the disc, which makes a nice refreshing change from a third-party publisher. So no download key in a box nonsense. You still need, though, a day one patch for the best experience, so you're still going to have to download the update to the game, but at least you won't have to pull down the entire 68 gigabytes from scratch. There is a catch, though. The box clearly states a persistent internet connection is required, even for the single-player game. That's disappointing for those hoping to play offline, but it's the reality of modern-day shooters. And also, let's not forget, right, in this day and age, surely everybody has access to internet, right? Unless you're somewhere out in the sticks. Still, compared to other games like Doom: The Dark Ages or Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, both of which shipped incomplete physical versions, Battlefield 6 seems to be doing the right thing for now, which is refreshing to see. been looking at the actual gameplay and thinking back to the public beta weekends and comparing it with how Call of Duty has been over the last few years. I think a lot of people will be making the jump this year from Call of Duty to Battlefield 6. So long as they keep that realism and don't get carried away and ruin it with these stupid cosmetics and skins. I think this is the year, guys. I think this is the year that Battlefield takes the throne of the best shooter. What do you think? Let me know down below in the comments.
Nobody makes my fate but me.
Now let's talk about a studio that's been in the headlines for all the wrong reasons lately, and that is Bungie. Destiny 2 is struggling. There's no easy way to say it. Despite a major Star Wars themed expansion planned for December, player counts have plummeted. On Steam, the game recently hit its lowest ever average player base, dropping below 19,000 active users. To put that into perspective, just 1 year ago, it was triple that number. Even expansions like The Final Shape, which peaked at over 300,000 players, could not stop the steady decline. So what the hell happened to this game and to Bungie? Many fans say that Bungie has lost its spark. The live service grind feels repetitive at best. Seasonal content is stale, and trust in the studio has also been eroded. All of this comes after Sony's $3.6 billion acquisition of Bungie back in 2022, a move that's now being questioned more than ever. Meanwhile, Bungie's other project, Marathon, a revival of the classic 90s franchise, is facing its own struggles. The game's development has been rocky, with reports of stolen assets and multiple design reworks, but now there's finally progress. A closed technical test is coming from October the 22nd to the 28th. This build will include 3 maps, new combat pacing, prox chat, and solo queue options. Now this test is going to be under an NDA, so don't expect live streams, but if it all goes well, it could finally mark a turning point for Bungie. The question is, can Bungie redeem itself, or has the studio behind Halo and Destiny finally lost the magic that once defined it? Although not a fan of live service games, I do feel the space is so saturated with free-to-play and even paid games. I look at games like Fortnite, Apex, PUBG, Warzone, Overwatch, Counter-Strike, Valorant. There are so many of these games that are out there. I mean, looking at it from an outsider, as I say, I don't always play these games, but looking at it from an outsider, unless the game offers something absolutely unique, I just feel people are getting bored of the same looter shooter mechanics. And also live service games, you've got to get the rewards and to get kind of progression in the games, I suppose you've got to be on all the time, or whenever you're free, you've got to be playing, right, to grind your way to success. I don't think everybody wants that. You know, people want to play a game knowing that there's an end in sight at some point, and it might be a long game. You might have to put in 100 hours, you might have to put in 50 hours, you might have to put in 20, but I think knowing that there's an end and then you can pack the game up and move on to something else. A lot of people want that too. I do anyway. I want to know the game's going to end so I can move on to something else. And don't get me wrong, I'll go back and replay it, new game plus mode, or just have another playthrough when I feel like it. But knowing that the game concludes, right? You get closure. I like that word, closure. You get closure when a game is done. You can move on. I think a lot of people are getting fed up of the endless live service grind. And this acquisition of Bungie, honestly, it looks like it could be one of the worst acquisitions in gaming history, unless Bungie can turn things around with Marathon. And I really hope the internal test goes right for them and that they can turn this around. It would be nice to actually finally get a live service game from a first party studio that actually works. So guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments. Finally, let's end with something that's been frustrating a lot of players, and that is the Xbox Gamepass price hike. Announced on October the 1st, the change is rolling out globally, but there is a strange part to this. Not every subscriber is being affected. Some players, especially living in parts of Europe and Asia, have reportedly received emails saying that their prices will actually stay the same, at least for now. Now, this is likely due to local laws that prevent automatic increases without user consent. So basically, if you've already signed up to Game Pass previously, so if you're an existing Game Pass subscriber in parts of Europe and Asia, and you have the auto renew switched on, Microsoft cannot increase the price of your Game Pass subscription, well, certainly not for now, as long as you stay subscribed with auto renew switched on. So basically, you're stuck subscribing to Game Pass if you call it stuck. However, if you switch auto renew off and your subscription ends, or you leave the service and then you come back to it, say within a few weeks or a few months, you'll be treated like a brand new customer and you will be paying the new higher prices. Still, for most players, the prices are going up, and not by a small amount. The new Ultimate tier, which is their highest tier, it includes Ubisoft Plus Classics, Fortnite Crew, and Day One Xbox titles, will now cost $29.99 per month. It's a steep jump and it's caused a flood of cancellations. Microsoft insists Game Pass is still profitable. They say that it's bringing in over $5 billion annually. But the messy rollout, the vague communication, and the regional inconsistencies have left many players frustrated. It feels chaotic, almost careless. And when a brand as big as Xbox cannot clearly explain something as basic as pricing and then communicate that to all of its customers, it raises real questions. Does Microsoft truly understand its own player base anymore? Does it actually care about the Xbox gamer base? Does it really? Or is Game Pass slowly drifting away from the value that made it special in the first place? Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you for watching. And as always, I will catch you on the next video.